performance over 38 games, your consistency, your longevity, what you did across several seasons, the amounts of 8 out of 10s that you have, that did not matter. For those players is, did you win the World Cup? Did you win the Champions League? And that is what you were judged by. Now, you say that to anybody in this era, they think that you're smoking Costa Rica. They'll be like, wait, hang on. So you're going to ignore what someone does over a season, and you're only going to focus on one particular World Cup. And people say, so you're going to define a player by 7-game tournaments? Yes, you are. Because just back in the day, before social media, bro, I don't have a guy's freaking GA for the past season. And there was no graph of, like, say, oh, this is what he did in the past 5, 6, 7 years. Or his XG was not a freaking concept back in the day. It wasn't a concept. But you fast forward to the modern era, there's XG, there's GA, and every single statistic of your entire career, preseason, during the season, when you're in heaven, hell, earth, everything is now detailed, and there's now a full-on digital footprint to either push an agenda or to expose you. Messi is one of those cases where he is the most consistent player of all time. There has never been a more consistent performer in football, and I don't think we'll ever see anybody as consistent as Messi. I think he's a once-in-a-lifetime consistent merchant. But he also had a peak. Because whether you want to look at the 2012-11-12 season, 91 goals in a calendar year, or you want to look at 18 and 19 when the guy was literally in his final form and one of the most all-round best asset players we've ever seen, he has a two-flex of the consistency and the peak as well. Dino's peak is greater than Messi's peak. And Messi lubricates and test tubes Dino for consistency. I don't believe that's... You see, Arnold is my guy. He was always my guy. But I can take a step back and say, I don't think we've seen a higher peak and a more impactful peak than Ronaldinho's. So if you ask people in the modern era, and I've heard people hint of saying this, how consistent was Dino? So you want me to rep a guy who had was like a 3-4 year span? No, he's a bum. In the modern era, then Dino sells fruit. As crazy as that may sound, as psychotic as that may sound, they would argue that Dino is a fruit seller because of his, he only had like what, a 2-3 year span. So for me, yes, Dino does not have the consistency, but his peak was so high that, I'll give you a good example. What will stay in your memory? Someone's amazing consistency or someone's iconic moments? So Dino, man, I've always said again, I'll say again, the best goal I've ever scored, the best goal I've ever seen was Dino's goal against Chelsea. And the overhead kick, the goal against England, the elasticos, the moments when he had the ball in the chest, like, so the amounts of things he's done, I think it makes up for his lack of consistency. Because those things he did can stand the test. Consistency doesn't stand the test of time. You're just like, oh, cool. But moments are things that 50 years from now, look at what this guy did. R9's consistency was getting there, but it is what it is. No one is going to be like, well, he had his injury. The fact of the matter is that he just did not have consistency. And if you were to compare R9's consistency to Lewandowski's consistency, oh my gosh, Lewandowski destroys him. He completely destroys him. Now, the ski does have moments. 4 goals, you still send against Real Madrid. I believe also got 5 goals in 9 minutes against Wolfsburg. Still probably one of the most insane things I've ever seen in my freaking life. I cannot think of a better display of a mutant player than R9 pre-grenade. So he didn't have the consistency. He didn't do it over 10 years. Heck, he didn't even do it over 5 or 6 years. But for that period of time, there has never been a footballer on firing on so many cylinders as R9, where it was generally frightening, where this is a guy who you are afraid of this guy. To watch the rest of this vid, think about becoming a Tier 1 Football Hut member. If you're a desktop merchant, just click the join button below the video here. If you're a mobile phone merchant, just click the join button under the video here. Choose choose that tier 1 status and join the Content Crack Addicts family. Peace!